Welcome back, team. My name is Eli. You're watching Journal of a Complete Stranger, where emotional masculinity is very important. Click on the link in the description below and share this with everyone you know. Watch the video to the very end because the minute you miss may have the message you need. Today we're going to talk about Dad. Team, today's video is going to be special. I don't talk about it a lot, not on this channel, and not in real life. But I want to give my dad the send-off that I didn't give him, and the respect that he deserves. See, my dad, he's from the Philippines. My mom's from the Philippines too. It's where they met. My mom's sister apparently dated my dad's cousin. It's not weird. My dad was both an intelligent man and a hardworking man. He went to Holy Angel University in the Philippines. And while he was in school, he went through Army ROTC, taught by an American United States Army Command Sergeant Major. He got top honors in school, all the while he was working a full-time job, which he tells me was 50, 60, sometimes 70 hours. Sometimes he didn't make it to class on time, but because he studied hard, he passed all of his tests. My mom was petitioned by my uncle, who was serving in the United States Navy. She was petitioned to move to the States. So they had to spend some time apart from each other. My mom, after she'd been in the States for some time, went to the Philippines, married my dad, and petitioned my dad to come to the States as well. The land of opportunity. A man who studied political science at a university and went through officer training was destined to do great things in the land of opportunity. See, my mom, she was a teacher's assistant at a private school. So when my dad came to the States, one of the most intelligent men you ever met was a janitor, part-time. See, my dad was also a man of God. Ever since I can remember, he held some sort of position in the church. He was either an usher or a deacon or a trustee. We were always in church. Most families went to church on Sunday morning. We went to church Sunday morning, Sunday evening, and Wednesday evening. If there was an activity at the church on Saturday, we went. My dad knew that he was unable to provide for my mom and my newborn older brother. So behind my mom's back, he enlisted in the United States Army. Where most people, when they enlisted in the Army, they did something that was exciting and masculine and macho. not my dad. When he enlisted, he wanted to do something with his future. So he went medical. He was a med-ec lab technician his entire career in the Army. While he was at work, he also kept going to school to learn a little bit more about his trade. He was always learning. He was always studying. I remember my bedroom was where he kept all of his books. In high school, if I did something terrible, the way I would fall asleep is I would grab one of his medical dictionaries and just read it for absolutely no reason. You see, my dad would work, and then he would study, then he would go to school. The entire time growing up, I just wanted to be like my dad. Hell, I just wanted to see my dad. And my opportunities to see my dad was at church. Sunday morning, Sunday evening, Wednesday evening, and a lot of Saturdays. My dad taught me that working hard towards a goal is the most important thing you can do. He was strict. He was firm. He raised me and my brother to be men. I had the best dad anyone could ever have had. As I got older, naturally I grew further and further away from my dad. But he was always there. Every time I came to see him or he came to see me, oh, we were men. We shook hands. I had a job in the past that he was very proud of. My dad could keep a secret. My dad knows more secrets about me than anyone else out there. See, we were living in Georgia when he retired from the Army and moved to Virginia. When I was in Georgia, he would call me and let me know that him and my mom were coming to town. So I had to find a way to get to the restaurant to cook for him. See, that was part of the secret. But anytime he would come to the restaurant, see, it was a Japanese steakhouse where we had the spatula. I used to be able to spin this on my finger. And he always looked so proud. When I finally decided to move to Virginia, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Within hours of me getting to Virginia, he'd signed me up to go to a trade school called Beta Tech to get my degree in computer networking technology. And I went along with it. I hate computers, but I went along with it. I got my degree. Once again, he was proud of me. I was a part-time driver at AutoZone. When I told my dad that I didn't want to work in the computer field and I wanted to continue working at AutoZone, he still looked proud. Now, even though we lived down the street from each other, I saw my dad maybe 2 or 3 times a year. I was always at work. But every time I saw him, no matter if I was a part-time driver or a shift supervisor or at one point a store manager, he was always proud. I just felt deep down inside that he wasn't really proud because I couldn't match or meet any of his accomplishments. He came to visit at the end of 2020. Actually, they came in June of 2020. It was funny. My mom and my dad, they called me from the Philippines. By that time, they'd moved to the Philippines. He called me and said, "We're going to be there in 2 weeks." So I had to scramble and get the house clean. It was too late for me to request any time off or vacations because it was only 2 weeks. So when my parents came to visit, there was my dad, just looking proud. Shook my hand. "Hey, son." I had to work damn near the entire time they were here. But we still managed to have a little bit of fun. I'll be sure to post pictures of the fun that we had. We shot guns. Now, the crazy thing about my dad, right? He retired from the Army in 2000. And even when he was active duty, he wasn't required to go to firearms testing. But he went anyway, once a year, and he always did a good job. Rolling back a few years, when I was a freshman in high school, I joined the rifle team. My dad was proud. He never came to a match, never watched me practice, but he knew I was shooting a rifle. It's where I learned how to shoot. So when he came to visit during the times that I wasn't at work, I brought him to the shooting range. The shooting ranges had just opened. Because they were closed because of COVID. And we went shooting, and then when we got back, he was so excited and giddy, having never shot a gun, having not shot a gun in 20 years. He was a natural. You'll see in the pictures that when we got home and after I cleaned all the guns that we shot that day, that he posed holding the rifle, my rifle, wearing turquoise swimming trunks and a t-shirt. Once again, the look of pride was all over his face. He had shot a gun, my gun. A gun that I meticulously put together to shoot well. It was one of the last days my dad was here. The day I brought him to the airport, both him and my mom, I loaded all the suitcases into the trunk. My mom and my dad came out. My mom sat in the back of the car. My dad went to give me a hug. My dad never went for a hug. I didn't know. I shook his hand. Shook his hand, gave him a little pat on the back. That was my hug. They were here from June till the end of August. And in October of the same year, my mom called me and said my dad was in the hospital. See, he was having difficulty breathing. So, yeah, COVID, right? They brought him to the hospital and tested him for COVID, and he tested negative. They tested him again, and tested negative. They tested him the third time, and he tested negative. So they treated him for COVID anyway. By the time they realized that the COVID treatments weren't working, they discovered that it was some sort of bacterial pneumonia. They just started treating him for that. And he got better. I know he got better because every once in a while my mom and my dad would Skype from the the hospital room. When they put him in the recovery room, he caught COVID. So they treated him for COVID. By that time, he had been on treatment for COVID, and then treatment for bacterial pneumonia, and then treatment again for COVID. It was just too much for my dad. His condition got worse. He was on a breathing machine. He was awake, but he was on a breathing machine. He was intubated. They had a tube down his throat so he couldn't talk. So my mom got him a whiteboard with a dry erase marker. So if he wanted to say something, he would just write it down on the dry erase board while we were Skyping. But his condition kept getting worse. One organ started to fail, and then another organ started to fail. And it seemed as if there was nothing that could be done. I tried to call my mom once. I'm on FaceTime. So I could talk to my dad. But he was asleep. He had been awake earlier. And my mom showed me the whiteboard and he wrote on right before he fell asleep. My father, who served proudly for 20 years in the United States Army. My father, who for 40, 50 years served in the church. My father, who acted as a servant leader all day, every day, teaching his sons how to be men, wrote on his whiteboard, "My service is over." I knew what that meant. My mom didn't know what it meant, my brother didn't know what it meant, but I knew what it meant. My mom FaceTimed me the next day. My dad was awake, barely, but he was there. That was the day I found out I got my promotion. So I said, "Dad, I got my promotion, what I've been working for a long time. I'm a district manager now." And I guess he didn't hear me because there was no response. But my mom kind of tapped him on the shoulder and said, "He got the promotion." My dad gave me 2 thumbs up and then fell back asleep. The next day, we got on a Zoom meeting with the panel of doctors, my mom, and my brother. The doctors asked if there was an advance medical directive. I was in possession of his advance medical directive. I have a lockbox full of all the documents, his will, and his do not resuscitate order. Since there was a DNR, which I gave the doctors, they were going to pump him full of morphine and turn all the machines off. In the back of my mind and in my soul, I feel like I killed my dad. But no, I'm a masculine man. I didn't so much as shed a single tear. His body was shipped to the States so he could be buried at Arlington Cemetery. They had to put him on cryo for 5 months. When it was time to have the funeral, my mom flew in from the Philippines. My brother and my nephew came in from Texas. On the way to the funeral, still not a tear. We got to Arlington. And my presence was strictly administrative. I posed for pictures, I shook hands, I gave people hugs. When we got to the gravesite, there was a tent with chairs for me, my wife, my mom, my brother, and my nephew. My mom, my brother, my wife, and my nephew sat in the chairs under the tent right in front of the casket. Not me. I was standing outside of the tent in the rain. They played taps. They had the 21 gun salute. All of the honors deserving of a man who served 20 years in the United States Army. And yet, I didn't shed a single tear. My dad deserved so much better. He deserved my tears. He deserved my love. He deserved a hug and not a handshake. I didn't know I was emotionally broken until very recently. That's why I started the channel. I know this video is getting long. Most of you probably haven't watched to the very end. But my dad deserves for his story to be told out loud. This isn't going to be a fancy video with closing thoughts. Just these words that my dad deserved. Dad, I know you can hear me. I need you now more than ever. Please help me get through this. I love you. Team, if your father is still alive, call him right now. If he's in the same room as you, give him a hug. Tell him you love him. Tell him that even though you're not half the man he was, that you're proud to have had a dad just like him. I love you, Dad.